Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Once again I'm out here with my commander, Cobra Commander, and a little bit later on I'll be getting to Commander Pompeii as he makes perhaps a somewhat vain attempt to catch up with the Distant Worlds expedition. For now though, I'm about to claim my reward for the community goal I participated in a couple of weeks back. Now, as you're probably aware, I've been on holiday for a couple of weeks, so I haven't really been able to keep up with a lot of what's been going on in the game. Fortunately though, this 200,000 credit bonus is a nice little sum of money for this new account here, and will allow me to outfit the Cobra I've got here, or the Sidewinder rather spectacularly. For those of you still new to the game, the Sidewinder is a remarkably capable ship, unlike a lot of other games where the equipment you're given at the start of the game, which usually isn't up to much. It's a bit different when it comes to Elite, because you can stay in the Sidewinder for quite a long time if you actually want to. Now, it's by no means a top spec trade ship, it's not a top spec combat ship either, but it will certainly do the job. Now, I'm going to take a couple of delivery missions here because the rewards for them seem fairly good for the amount of work that needs to be put in. It's only a few jumps over and I've upgraded the FSD to this ship to its maximum jump range. I've got a small cargo hold on board allowing me to carry a limited amount of items, and of course I've got some weapons as well as the top spec shield I can fit on this ship, which at the very least will allow me to make some minimum defense attempts on if I get interdicted, and it will allow me to attack some other ships and perhaps claim some bounties en route to the mission. Now, I'm not sure how many veteran players continue to do missions once they've got quite a bit of money and a decent ship in their hands, but well, they're quite a good thing for new players, especially the ones that have a decent payout. Now, the downside to that, of course, is that the current mission system is somewhat basic and, to be honest, quite a bit repetitive. It's looking like patch 2.1 will address that quite a bit, and I spoke about that to some extent in my recent video of 3302 that I released on Monday. The short of it is that the mission system is going to have an extensive overhaul, and one of the things that's been taken away is the rank requirements for the missions, and that should give a little bit more variety, at least that's the hope. In an interview with PC Gamer last week, David Braben spoke a bit about this, and it appears that the conversation may have got on to repetitive gameplay, to which David Braben had this to say: there's so much in there, and what we see from play patterns is that many people do the same thing over and over. In that cycle, they just don't get to see some of the variation. I'm not blaming players, we got it wrong. He goes on to say it's a shame because the missions actually drive you around the galaxy, but if you keep going back to the same place, you won't venture very far. We need to change the way we communicate that. Now, in a way that statement's perhaps a little bit at odds with itself, because obviously a lot of players are going back to the same area to try and raise their reputation with a particular minor faction. Now, I've found that if I follow missions along, I'll pick one mission up in Erevat or something, and that will take me to a couple of systems along, and I can pick a mission up there, and that will continue to take me along through the galaxy. And if you keep doing that, you'll soon end up many hundreds of light years away from where you originally started. But the way I often play is that I usually return back to the original station that gave me the mission, so that I can keep raising my reputation there. So that's really an incentive that doesn't exactly encourage you to keep travelling around the galaxy. At any rate, I just dropped into a USS there, as you saw, hoping that perhaps there'd be something really good there, but it was an Eagle, and I quickly destroyed it, giving myself a little bit of extra money. Although, unfortunately, the bounty reward wasn't particularly high. So, here is the destination for the deliveries I've got to make. I quickly handed them in and claimed the rewards for them. Now, there is something that's quite good to do, and something I actually like doing when I'm down on a base like this on a planetary surface, and that's to pick up as many missions as possible for both salvage collection as well as pilot rescues. You can then leave your ship exactly where it is, deploy the SRV, drive out of the base, and roam around the planet finding what you want. One of the reasons I like to do this is that I find driving the SRV to be a real pleasure. And of course, the rewards for the missions are fairly high as well. Now, Cobra Commander here is doing fairly well, but let's check in on Commander Pompeii to see how he's doing. So, the Distant Worlds expedition is rapidly approaching waypoint 13. In fact, by the time you watch this video, they should more or less be there at that destination. Meanwhile, I'm all the way back here, en route to waypoint 7. That's a difference of around 13 to 15,000 light years. Now, it's by no means an insurmountable task to catch up with the expedition, especially if I spend a significant amount of time just simply doing jump after jump. However, I do want to spend my limited playtime making new videos rather than just recording extended jump sequences, and being a fairly busy guy, it of course means I don't have a whole lot of time to invest into the game, and maybe not enough to be able to catch up, but I'm going to give it a good attempt. This planet here was one I really did have to stop off and have a good look at. Fairly unusual colours, being purely black and white there. Getting up close there wasn't too much going on, but certainly from a distance it really did look quite striking. There was also a whole lot of systems out here that had a lot of water worlds and a few with Earth-likes. Now, some of these could well make good candidates for colonisation, although in this particular case they don't have any resources such as asteroid belts and ring systems with a lot of metal content in, but they surely are out this way. Talking of which, the Pioneers Cooperative search for a system for long-range colonisation is currently undergoing a vote. There's 35 submissions. You may remember a while ago I spoke of a competition that these guys are actually organising, and the hope is that eventually the chosen and voted candidate will be a part of a community goal to allow us to get a colonisation deep out in space. But that's something that's still very much in Frontier's hands. We don't know yet which way that's likely to go, but what we do know is that there is a vote going on and that we can all get involved in that. Now, if you're interested, do go and check out all the submissions. There's a link in the video description that goes to the forum thread where the voting is currently going on. Now, voting is going to end at 10 AM UK time on the 26th, that's tomorrow. So I apologise for very short notice on this, but having been on holiday for a while, I haven't only just got back, it's taken a bit of time to catch up with all of this stuff. But this won't be the only round of voting. There will be a further round or further few rounds as well, so keep an eye out for them. Now, I always love to see a moon with a gas giant up close. This isn't quite as close as I'd like. I'm still trying to find a moon that is extremely close to a gas giant. I'm sure they exist out there, but as yet I still haven't come across one. But nonetheless, this is still a pretty good sight. It's all the more so because of the somewhat unusual colours of the brown gas giant in the background there. And this moon, of course, has some really nice features on it as well. Now, I'm really hoping that when multi-crew is released, that your friends, that other wing members can jump into your ship even if they're 10,000 or 30,000 light years away. And the reason for that, of course, is because when you're out here on these rather long and rather lonely expeditions, it's really nice if you can have someone just tag along with you for a little bit here and there. And if they can just jump into the other co-pilot seat, or if even they can jump out into your spare fighter ship, that would really be quite an awesome thing to be able to do. Now, I do know that some people feel that wouldn't be entirely realistic, but in some cases I do feel that gameplay does trump realism, and in this particular situation I feel that very much does apply. Now, after flying through these canyons, these ridges and the various craters here, I found this little narrow ledge here, and I thought it a perfect place to settle down on and go for a little drive. Now, I've still got 3 SRVs left. I did start out with 4, but you probably saw in a previous video that one of them exploded due to the SRV instant death bug. So I guess I'm kind of fortunate, and I'm very pleased actually that I didn't just come out here with a single SRV. In the distance there, behind the gas giant, you can see the galactic core getting ever closer, and before too much longer, I should be on the very outer edges of it, and then finally right in the centre of it. It's a location I'm very much looking forward to getting to, because seeing the dense starfield there should be a spectacular sight when down on the planetary surfaces, and of course being above or below the galaxy core is also going to be another nice visual treat. After a brief tour through this eerie looking mountain ridge, I decided it was time to move on and continue in my attempt to catch up with the Distant Worlds expedition, and we'll see in a future video just how far I managed to get with that. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. I'm slowly making my way back across the galaxy to the solar system and home. This ship has been out here in deep space since April last year, so it's coming up for a year now. I've seen a tremendous amount of sights out here and collected a lot of scan data, and although I don't expect to make a significant amount of money here due to the fact that I don't scan every single planet, hopefully it should be a nice chunk. But being out here is far from being just about the money.